Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Just ahead of Premier John Horgan, our guest today, sponsored by Passant Motors. Gas prices driving you crazy? At Passant Motors, with your next purchase, get up to a $1,000 gas card. Learn more at passantmotors.com, basantmotors.com. Interesting. That's quite the segue there as we go from high gas prices to BC Premier and noted Canadian lacrosse silver medalist John Horgan. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, Donnie. Good to see you. Good to see you, Dally. And I'm doing my Drance impersonation here for you today.
Oh, okay. Well, you need to give us 10-minute answers if you're going to do that.
Hey, you look great.
I'd be happy to do that.
John, you look great. How's the health? Your health issues well documented. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Actually, this will be, we're breaking news here. I've had a clean PET scan, so there ain't no cancer in me. I'm very happy about that. Breaking news on the team today. And I've got some challenges with after effects of treatment and so on, but that can be managed. I'm fighting weight again, Donnie. I could outrun you again.
Yeah, well, that's not saying much. Trust me. Hey, news this week. I don't have to tell you. You and your government have halted the plan for a new Royal BC Museum. Why the change of mind?
Well, a number of factors. Timing is everything in life and, of course, in politics. I felt, and in fact, I know that we have serious challenges at the Royal BC Museum. I'm a born and raised Victorian. It is an iconic feature of tourism in Victoria. It's critical not just for tourism, though, but to our collective heritage. Our treasures, 7 million different artifacts, are held by the Royal BC Museum, and it's in desperate need of repair. However, the public, not aware of the details, were asking why this now? It came out of the blue for many people. It didn't for me because I've been working on it for 5 years and I knew about it over the past 15. But the public are saying, hey, we got a doctor problem, we've got a healthcare problem, inflation, gas prices, housing. Why are you not doing that? And of course, we are doing all of those things. It's not an either or. But when the public was so frustrated about something that I want them to be so proud of, it felt important to me to be accountable for making a decision that the public wasn't ready for. We're kicking it back to them. We're going to have a consultation where everything's on the table. And I want people to get back to a position of pride about our iconic Royal BC Museum rather than it being a gag line at a party. Did you hear about the Royal BC Museum? Yeah. I mean, it's just the people who work there, the people who care about the place don't deserve that. So I've got to be accountable, and I pulled the cord, and we're going to go back to square one.
Okay, so you pull away from that decision. Also, changing a decision when it comes to not hosting or hosting 2026 World Cup matches. When a government does that, when a government changes its mind like that or pulls back on a decision, John, do you think it's a sign of strength or weakness?
The way you put it, Donnie, I'm going to go with strength. Final answer, but it depends on circumstance. I'm, as you know, and many of your viewers would know, I'm a huge sports fan, and I was excited about the prospect of FIFA when we came to government. But at that moment, we had just arrived. We were a minority parliament. We didn't know the state of the finances. We didn't know what the consequences of signing on to an agreement with FIFA would be. And at that time, we were guaranteed 2 games, maybe 3. And there were a whole host of other requirements that FIFA put in front of us. And at that moment in our time as a government, it wasn't the right time. Now, fast forward to today, we've come out of a global pandemic where our tourism industry has been absolutely crippled as a result of no travel and people having to stay in place. So you look at the situation today, and we're guaranteed 5 games, maybe 6 during the tournament, 5 friendlies, which is a big deal. And we've been able to negotiate terms in the use of the stadium that we weren't able to negotiate at the time we had available to us back in 2018. So sober second thought, looking at things again based on new information is what governments are supposed to do. I don't think it, to be honest with you, I don't think it's strength or weakness. It's good common sense. People want you to revisit issues when there's new information on the table. FIFA came to us. They said, we really want Vancouver to be part of this. How can we get there? We went through discussions for about a year and a half, and we got to a place where we were able to make a bid and we were successful. I'm very excited about that. Tourism industry is excited. Sports fans are excited. City of Vancouver is excited.
John, we talk about the cost of these games. That new grass field is going to cost a lot of money, but how much? I haven't heard a number of how much money is going to come back into British Columbia. You talked about tourism has been hit hard. You talk about the local economy, but how much money do you expect to come into this province thanks to these games?
We estimate it could be in the range of $1 billion, Rick, and that's significant. And it won't just be in the Lower Mainland as well. There's opportunities on the island with FIFA, with training facilities. There's opportunities in the interior. This is something that we wanted to be a part of back in 2018. That it just didn't work based on what FIFA was selling at that time. As cities fell off and they looked at the landscape, I give Victor full credit being a local guy. He knew the marketplace. He knows how important soccer is in the Lower Mainland and in British Columbia. And so he persisted with FIFA. He persisted with the province, and we've got to the place we're at today. But there will be significant economic benefits. There is a cost involved, and we are going to try and find ways to mitigate that, working with the hotel industry, working with Destination BC and others, because they're also excited about this. We need bums in seats. We're all excited about Mr. Doman and what he was able to do with the opening night for the Lions. Not only was it fantastic to crush Edmonton, but it was fantastic to have 35,000 people in that stadium again. Yeah. And we want to see that week after week. We went through 2 years of an empty dome that we just spent as a province hundreds of millions of dollars to upgrade. Now we need to fill it. FIFA can do that.
John, Vancouver's name has popped up. Olympic 2030, a proposed bid. Where are you with that?
We're waiting to see what comes back from the Canadian Olympic Committee. Of course, this is all different than it was back in 2010. For the 2010 games, we had to win the Canadian bid, and that started in the 1990s. We ended up winning the Canadian bid in the early 2000s, and then went on to win the international bid. What they're proposing now is having one unified Canadian position. Vancouver is being highlighted as the likely place to start that. Calgary, as you know, had an opportunity and had a referendum famously and were unsuccessful. But we're waiting to see what the Canadian Olympic Committee has to offer. We haven't heard boo from the federal government. That's also critically important to FIFA, by the way. We're anticipating support on security and other measures from the federal government, and I'm confident that will come through. But we're in early stages of the Olympic discussion. I think that certainly Mayor Stewart and the City of Vancouver and Whistler are very much engaged. The four nations are, but we have not been asked for any participation. Certainly, we're looking at the material that's been prepared, and we're ready to talk about it. But I also want to. We've got the Invictus Games in 2025. We've got FIFA in 2026. We have a small sport branch in the government, and they're fully engaged right now. So we're leaving the Olympic bid to be fully fleshed out before we wade into it.
John, we just read an ad going into this interview from Basant Motors, and they're offering people, if they do business with them, a $1,000 gas card. Gas is a big issue in this province right now. What can your government do about gas prices right now?
Well, we've already reduced the costs of driving through changes at ICBC. When you renew your insurance, you will have seen about a 20% reduction in what you would have been paying had we stayed the course on the old model. We are in our third rebate back to policyholders. This is, of course, money people have already spent that we're giving back to them. We're hopeful that will help with the cost of fuel. We're looking at a range of other inflation measures, quite frankly, Donnie. It's not just the price of gas, which is staggering, but we're going to see our food costs go up, our rents, our mortgage costs are all going to go up. People are going to be struggling. These are very difficult times. A bunch of reasons for that. It's not confined to BC. I think everybody knows that. We're in an international crisis coming out of the pandemic, war in Europe, and then, of course, now challenges with supply lines. I don't know how many people I've talked to, friends and others that have commented to me about just trying to get on an airplane. We assume that the pandemic is over and everything's back to normal. We have a huge shortage of workers. There's more jobs than there are people to do them. And that means that prices for labor is going up. That's good for working people. But that means the cost of everything else is going up as well. So we have to try and dampen down inflation. We have to make sure that we're giving enough money back to people that they can make ends meet for the short term. But we're in a long-term economic situation that is not just confined to BC. It's an international challenge.
I know you're not the man in charge of everything, but can you envision a day soon when those gas prices go down?
Well, it's an international commodity. And now people always say, well, over in Alberta, it's 30, 40 cents cheaper. Well, that's because they take it out of the ground, they refine it, and then they send it to the gas station. It's not that simple getting to into the Lower Mainland with the topography we have. Only one pipeline. Trucks during the atmospheric river in the fall. The Coke was down. Highway 1 was down. The Highway 3 was down, and so getting fuel into the Lower Mainland is a costly undertaking. We have taxes that are in place that don't go up with the price; they stay the same. So government has increased the cost of gas by 2 cents in the past 2 years. That's it. We have to pay for transit. We use our gas price to do that. If we were to rebate those dollars, we'd have to borrow the money from somewhere else. That will be paid for down the road. So we're trying to find the right time and the right place to make interventions in the marketplace. You know, it's funny. People say what government should do is get out of the way until people want government to get in the way. And the challenge is figuring out where's the right time, what's the right way without increasing costs for people down the road. But I'm absolutely aware of the challenges, man. And we're doing our best to try and keep things as under control as possible. No more MSP premiums for those who had to pay it. No tolls on the bridges in the Lower Mainland. So we've been taking costs off. But people forget about that, and they're saying, "I need you to help me right now because I'm parked at the Shell station that says $2.25 on the sticker, and that's more than I can afford."
We could go on and on with this, John. Shamrocks are 5-1. How about that?
Fantastic. Yeah, I was pretty happy to be back in the rink with 2,000 other folks when the Sad Sack Salmon Bellies came to town for the season opener. Great lacrosse, though. Fantastic lacrosse.
Is New West not NDP territory?
Hey, that's funny to say. I got a note from a friend saying you must think it's a safe seat, but if you can't trash talk in your own arena, you can't trash talk at all. I love the Salmon Bellies, the most successful franchise in Canadian lacrosse history, but I'm a Shamrock guy to my boots.
Yeah, don't rip the Salmon Bellies, John. I'm a New West guy. Do not rip them. Queen's Park, that was the place to be.
Do what you want, John. Just don't rip Burnaby.
Yeah, I'll leave it alone.
Could we get you every Friday and you could replace Thomas Drance? It would be really nice.
Hey, listen, I'd love to. I could talk sports all day. I'm really excited about the Lions. I think to have Mr. Doman there, I lift my hands to David Braley up in heaven and his family for all they've done and continue to do for that franchise. But to have a local guy that's as excited about the team as the fans are, it's just great news, and they look so good on that opening night. I'm nice to see the Argos come to town to get a bit of a beating this week. I think the CFL is turning it around. I'm very excited about that. A good friend of mine, a guy that graduated from my high school, Brian Ramsey's the head of the Players Association, a Reynolds grad, and so I'm really excited about the CFL. The Canucks are looking good. The Whitecaps are looking good. A sports guy in BC has got to be pretty happy right about now.
Yep. John, thanks so much for this. All the best. Good health. And we'll get you back on soon. You bet. Thanks so much.
Take it easy, guys. Thanks a lot.